This is Justin with storycorneroptions taking a look at SPX. Today was the rate announcement, and I believe they went up another quarter point. And yeah, so it was relatively quiet most of the day. And then once the announcement hit at 1 o'clock Central, we barely moved any. I mean, we went up quite a bit, went down quite a bit, but we're pretty flat. Like we didn't get a strong directional move for the next hour, really. And that just ate up premium everywhere. So it was basically a non-event, and then we did get some selling. So if you were patient enough, could have worked out, could have gotten some gains to the put side. There were opportunities to play this both bullish and bearish with the same thing I've been talking about all this week. So let's look at the call first. And in the call, we're going to find, so this is the 4,200 call. And right at the beginning of the day here, we have the $1 price that we got a nice little bounce off of. Came back into that, actually got through it, came back up, kind of bounced around on it a couple other times here. But that's good enough for me that, okay, we hit the dollar price, we held that, we bounced, went up, and then we come back down, and eventually we do get down to like 0.25, 0.3, 0.35, like in that range. This is like later. I can't draw a straight line still. So this is after 1:30. It's well after the rate announcement. So if you're patient enough to look at this option, just stock this option, or have an order open for this, you actually could have gotten a nice gain. The only problem was, like, I would have set a target at 1.5, did not come back up to that. So you would have had to be quick and aggressive to get out. So like if you got in for like a quarter, really $25. If you got in for $25, maybe just scalp something out at $75, and essentially you triple the option to get a gain like that, or even get out at 1. But 1.5 didn't hit. Unfortunately, the same thing happened on the put. And here's the put that we're going to look at. Same setup where early in the day, you have a really nice move down to the dollar. This one does a really nice job going up, comes back down. Don't really pause at a dollar much. We actually hold it as resistance nicely. But then we come down in here to like 0.4 into this range, and I was buying this. This was close enough to the rate announcement at 1 o'clock. I was in just before Paul came out and spoke. And then I guess while he was speaking, or during that time, there's things happening in the market. It started to go and didn't get up to 1.5. And then it comes back down right back into 0.4, and it's just bouncing around in here. It's like, well, maybe it'll go again. Nope. Try and set the target at 0.75. Too late for that, because we already tagged that price about right there. Actually, I don't know that I would have gotten out at 0.75 there. Didn't get to it there, and then it's like, oh, we're right back to break even. I could have gotten out break even. Nope. Couldn't get out till later. I could have gotten out, but I was just hoping that I would be in this option and it would work out to roll back down. So I was in at 0.4, and because I was treating this as an absolute zero, I got out at the end of the day for 0.05, or at some point, I think it actually exited me at 240. So we did end up getting that sell-off, but we only made it down to like 40.90. We definitely didn't make it anywhere near 40.50. And so even at this part of the day, 40.50 just was, was worthless. There wasn't anything that was going to work out with getting premium baked back into it. There's not really an easy setup on this. It's just really just picking a direction, holding on to that, hoping that you're in late enough that it's the cheap option. But I was looking for the same things that I've been talking about the last couple of days, looking for, price that bounces nicely off a dollar. Definitely did that. Same thing on the call. So on both this call and this put, it worked out nicely. I'm usually, early in the day, I'm usually looking at the 25s. So 4,200, 41.75, 41.50, 41.25 on the calls. And then on the puts, looking at 4,100, 40.75, 40.50, 40.25. And these are the ones that pretty early on the day, they gave me those prices. Now, I also considered just buying at the dollar because I knew today the premium was going to be high. With the volatility that was getting baked into today's options, I knew that there's a chance that the option would not lose much value. And I really liked the nice round value of a dollar. I just wasn't ready to buy it at a dollar and risk only like a quarter R and have a stop at 0.75. And then if you look at options that are a little further away, um, they're less expensive, but they're even less likely to get more premium baked into them. So I liked the dollar price, and I was debating in this range. I'm like, I could just buy this for $1. It looks like it's holding. It came down to 0.9 on the call. So it's like that could have worked. And it looked like, okay, where we opened up, maybe we'll get some buying come in. Sure enough, we did. And that would have been a really nice game from 1 up to 1.5, 1.75, something like that would have worked nicely. And then when we came down again, this is where it's like, okay, I could do it now, buy at a dollar, but then we hit a low of 0.8. It's like that probably would have stopped me out if I had my stop at 0.75, just because of the way that the pricing works, the spread, maybe I would have been stopped out. But again, if I had bought a little bit later, waiting for, okay, did we really establish a good low there? Are we going to come back down to it? We didn't. Okay, let me buy at 1 over in here and just hold on, get out at like 1.5 or maybe 1.75. Well, it didn't even make it back up to 1.75. So you can tell, even though we were rallying this much over this much time, not that much premium was getting baked back in, even though we were back up at the same price or about the same price as we were, in the first half hour of the day. So see the cursor is this high. We made it almost up to that price here at 12:30, but the option, the call, wasn't even that high. But you can see that normally the option is not even going to get nearly that high, just because premium gets sucked out as the day goes on, as hours go by. So you can tell that there's more premium just staying in until that 1 o'clock time. That this actually had a chance to get get near to these wicks, stayed below them, but got near them. And then what was really crazy to see is, there's a lot of chop through here. So this looked like a double bottom that came up, came right back up to the highs. And here, this time was the initial reaction, then a second time, then a third time. That's supposed to be 2. Maybe draw 2. That's supposed to be 2. And then like a fourth time here, came back up again, and then we had a low here and another low, and then it's like, oh, maybe we're going to bounce again with this lower wick, and it started to get bought back up, and then it just went sideways again. So it's like you just lose premium every time it goes sideways. This went sideways for like 20 minutes with some choppiness, then took out the low again. So like each of these moves, if you were in an option that was closer, like 40.75, 4100, you're paying up. You're paying more than this price. You might be paying, let's go see what the 40.75 was doing. Here, so the low is coming down. Actually, it was a decent low when it was up here. How about when it showed us it was moving lower? Let's see, this is at 215. So 215, it was like 0.6. So it's a little bit high. It had already established a low at like 0.25, 0.3. It didn't come back down. Oh, it did come back down 0.3 and then rallied up to, let's look at this. Let's zoom in on this. So it's already shown you that it's rolling down. And then you do get a retest of that low at 0.3. This would have been a great place to be buying this put, the 40.75. Buy at 0.3, 0.35, 0.4, stop at 0 or stop at 0.05, 0.1, 0.15, and then look for a gain up to like 0.75, maybe 1. Probably don't hold out for these upper wicks because it's just making lower highs here. Maybe 1.5. More likely, you're just going to look for a scalp, look to get out. And I mean, I'm calling it a scalp, but if you can double or triple an option within a few minutes, within a few candles, that's a great trade. That's really a great trade. So I think that would have been even better. What I didn't like about this setup is that I talked about this in depth on Monday. So we bounced here and this is the $3 price. That's not really what I'm looking. I'm looking for the dollar. I'm looking for us to bounce off the dollar. We did get this wick at $1, which was the immediate reaction to the Fed announcement. So even though early in the day it didn't hit, this hit so well, this was on my radar. And I was already in the 40-50, and I missed the best entry for that. I was in already in here, and then I was just looking to get that gain over in here, or no, I think it was in here, and I just missed the chance to exit at the opportune time. And then that kind of scared me off from like, okay, maybe I shouldn't get this one, but I definitely should. This was a great setup. It bounced at 1, went back up, came back down. Should have been ready here really to buy it 0.3, 0.35, been ready again here. And this would have been, 2 times in a row. I could have gotten a really nice scalp from, let's say 0.4 up to 1.5, and then 0.4 to 1.5. So I could have done the same thing twice. That would have been 1.1 R each time if I'm just risking just buying one contract. But for each contract, so if I had done 2 contracts, that would have been a 2.2 gain for 2 times. That would have worked out great. Didn't do that, but I can see the opportunity. There's definitely the opportunity to be buying this. Let's see, the low here was 0.25, 0.3. So you could definitely, like, even after this one came in, if you missed this, it's possible if you set it up quick enough, you could have gotten this candle, or you would have still had the setup open in your broker here. But it is getting later in the day, and that's when you want to kind of scale back. If you're new to this, learn how it moves and where you should have a target. You're never going to buy the low. You're never going to sell the high. So get in anywhere in here that's below 0.4. That's what I'm recommending, and be ready to lose down to 0. Maybe 0.25 is, or 0.05 would be an easy thing to lose to. So you're not really risking the entire 0.4 per contract. And then just look to scalp, like double it from 0.4 to 0.8. You double the option. If you triple it, it's going from 0.4 to 1.2. Each of those would have worked. Here, and then would have worked again over here. So that was the better way to play this, but at the end of the day, it was worthless. So just know the ranges, know that you gotta be in and out of these things quickly. But I'm still seeing the same thing every day, and that's what I'm reminding myself. This is working. I just gotta find it. I gotta find the pattern. The pattern is showing up. If you can find the option earlier in the day, at some point prior, it's bounced nicely off $1. Look for that to come back down into the 0.25 to 0.4 range, and just look to get in, and then get out early in the month. Get out for a double, get out for half an hour gain, from 0.4 to 0.9, or from 0.25 to 0.75. That's the kind of thing I'm looking for. And so I'm lost today on one trade. I'm back to break even for the month. I'm fine with that. I'm still risking small, so I'm doing around 1/4 of an R risk. But I've had one really nice winning trade at 1.1 R, and I've taken 1, 2, 3, 4 losing trades, and I'm back to break even. So I won 1 trade, lost on 4, and because of the small risk I've got, I'm at break even. So I have a 20% win rate, and I'm at break even. That's what I love about doing this, is that because the risk is so small and the gain is so much bigger, it's actually working out. So we'll see how this plays out the rest of the month. April started out similar, where it was pretty rough, just kind of grind, and then I hit that one big trade at 7.7 Rs, and that made the month. So that can happen. Hope this helps. This is Justin. Thanks.